Hey everybody, this is Emar Substitute. Welcome to another edition of the Technical State of Georgia Athletics. We're going to preview Georgia State football's contest against Louisiana Monroe taking place tomorrow on October 9th and look at the rest of the landscape in college football for the state of Georgia. As always, follow everything that we do. We'll go to the mothership, the sportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can go on there and see a lot of content about college athletics in the state of Georgia, including our exclusive interview with Georgia State place kicker Noel Ruiz. We were able to speak with them before their contest against Louisiana Monroe, went in depth about the season so far and his role as a kicker on the squad. So make sure you go to that interview and check it out. You can also go to our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under Sports Inquirer. You do a search on there and you'll be able to keep track of all that we have going on. And then finally, subscribe to our audio and video hosts such as YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iTunes. Do a search on there for the Sports Inquirer. You'll find us. Then follow us and keep track of all that we have going on. So Georgia State continues its Sun Belt play this upcoming Saturday on October 9th when it visits Louisiana Monroe. The Panthers dropped their first Sun Belt Conference contest of the season with a 45-16 defeat at home to Appalachian State on October 2nd. Tough loss for the Panthers, and they're looking to rebound against Monroe. Here is Georgia State head coach Shawn Elliott on that App State loss and preparing for Monroe.
Our football program coming off a loss to Appalachian State. Looking forward to our second conference opponent in Louisiana Monroe at 7 o'clock, I believe, Central down there on Saturday night. So, we've got to prepare and be ready to go for this bunch. We've got a new staff in there with Coach Bowden. They're 2-2 right now. They got one conference win, one conference loss under their belt, having defeated Troy and then lost to Coastal Carolina. A much improved football team and somebody that we've got to be playing our best to go in there and try to get our first conference win. And I think everybody in here knows that our non-conference slate, and then of course opening up with Appalachian State was a tough 5-game stretch for us. And we're certainly sitting here with 1-4 and not feeling very good about ourselves. And we've got a lot of improvements that we have to make on our football team, and we're looking to continue to do that. We've dug ourselves a hole. We certainly understand that as a football team, but we certainly can dig ourselves or climb right out of that hole we've dug. So, we still have to understand what lies ahead for us and keep our heads up. I tried to make sure we understood we cannot go out and have a pity party. You can't be feeling sorry for yourself because, everything that we've done thus far is on us. So we're moving forward with a positive attitude, looking to get better.
And really, the specifics of the contest come down to several things. We'll start with the quarterback position for Georgia State. Cornelius Brown, the quad Brown, who started the season as the starter, he was replaced a few games ago by Darren Granger. And Granger started this contest against Appalachian State, but Brown came into the contest on the third series in the contest. Now, Brown was able to lead the team to 3 field goals that were all successful attempts by Noel Ruiz. And Brown finished the day with 171 yards and two interceptions, yards passing, and those 2 interceptions. Granger actually came back into the contest late in the game and threw a 66-yard TD pass to freshman Talik Williams. So both those guys got playing time against Appalachian State. Here is Coach Elliott on the quarterbacks and when we can expect a decision on a permanent starter in that spot.
We were able to see both of them play in a little bit of an action on Saturday. It didn't start out really well for Darren. I thought he made a really good throw on the second play of the game, and it gets picked off. And, those are plays that we think we got a little bit better chance than 50-50 to come down with them with Sam right there. But Sam's just coming back from an injury, and they picked that thing off. And on our first play, there was kind of I wouldn't say a bad read, but it thrown into traffic as well. And we went one more series with Darren, and then we got Quad in there. And we felt like we could throw the football for whatever reason, just a little bit better with Quad in there at that time. And I don't think either played really great, to be honest with you. I don't think there was someone that came out and separated themselves between the two of them. I think we have to continue to push forward and find the guy. We gotta find out exactly what our strengths are offensively, and I think we're gonna have to look at that, and then we're gonna have to evaluate the quarterbacks and see what strengths they have to make us go offensively. Right now, we're struggling in the big plays. We're very limited in our downfield throws and things of that nature. So we've got to develop, a lot of areas to start getting back to where we are or where we would like to be as an offense. Both those guys are going to compete, but ultimately we're going to have to go with one of them compete. And I said ultimately we're going to have to decide who gives us the best chance to go with what we do best offensively. So
okay.
I don't think that's going to be. I'm not a guy. I don't think you can go play two quarterbacks and be real successful with a football team. I just certainly don't. I've been through it a little bit, but I think you have to go with a guy, and you have to go with it. Unless it's just, he's just playing so poorly, you've got to make a change. You just gotta. We got to make that decision. It's going to be made this week, and we're going to go with it.
Yeah, it's just been an up and down season at the quarterback position for Georgia State. As I mentioned, Quad Brown started the season and they lost their opener to Army. Then they fell in their next contest against North Carolina, but then you bring in Granger, and he got the team's lone win of the season at home against Charlotte. Played against Auburn, started the game against Auburn, and then this game against App State. So at this stage of the season, I don't know who's going to be in that starting spot, but I know that Elliott wants to have a decisive decision, on who is going to be in that spot. Yeah, for the Panthers, though they're 1-4 on the season, they opened the year in that a 5-game stretch with two nationally ranked teams in North Carolina and Auburn, and teams in Army, Charlotte, and Appalachian State who each have winning records so far this year. All 5 of those opponents have combined record of 18-7. So it's been a very competitive start to the season as far as the opponents for Georgia State. Offensively, they have I mentioned with the quarterbacks, but no matter who's back there at taking snaps as the quarterback, they have not been able to produce a much offense. They're averaging only 17 points per contest this season. Here's Elliott on the team trying to stay aggressive to produce more offensive opportunities.
Well, we're continuing to build our offense to be successful at all. If you look down there at Auburn, we've got a couple touchdown passes, one to Thrash and then one to Roger Carter. And, it did, for whatever reason, it just didn't work this past weekend. They were well-defended plays. We're trying to run a triple option off a backside right there, and they do a really good job in defending that. We're probably just easy enough to hand the football off and go push it in there for the score. But sometimes it's well defended, and sometimes it just doesn't always work. I don't think it was a complete meltdown of the offense going into the red zone by any stretch, but we certainly have to do that. I'm a guy that likes touchdowns. I don't like field goals. I don't think you can win off kicking those field goals, especially when you get 2 or 3 under your belt. There's you just the separation starts to expand right there. And you just can't do those things. So we've got to be really, really good in the red zone. We have been for the most part, under Coach Glenn and what we've been doing. So I think we're going to get back on track. We certainly will.
And on the other side of things, the defense has had its struggles as well. The Panthers have allowed 38 points per contest, and they're not creating turnovers as well. They've only recovered 2 fumbles and have no interceptions on the year. Here's Elliott on the team looking to improve its defensive effort.
I think we need some more interceptions. We've got to get the ball out of the air. I've seen that ball travel a little bit too much in the air. And it's hurt us on some big plays. We've got to do a good job, and I guess you would say tightening up our coverage and making some of those doggone turnovers in the back end. It's what we need to do. I think we can, at times get good pressure on the quarterback. I think our linebackers do a marvelous job. I mean, they're playing really good against the run and those guys up front. But we've all got to be better in the throw game, from putting pressure on those guys and giving our secondary defenders an opportunity to make those plays. It's not all that easy when they have a 7-man protection and we're sitting there, we're rushing as hard as we can. You can't get there when you rush 4, so they've got the numbers on that, and that speed takes over and they run right by you. That's a tough thing to happen. So we've got to really, really be critical in the throw game. We've got to put pressure on the quarterback. We've got to get some errant throws. And we got to get some balls going back the other way.
Yeah, and the Panthers face a Louisiana Monroe squad that has improved tremendously this season. They did not win a contest last year in the 2020 year, and they have come back and they've won 2 games so far this year under new coach Terry Bowden, new head coach in Terry Bowden. The Warhawks are coming off of a 59-6 loss at Coastal Carolina, who, if you watched that contest last night against Arkansas State, they may, besides being the class of the Sun Belt Conference, they may be a top 15 team nationally. The Coastals played really well this year. So the Warhawks, they had their struggles last week against Coastal, but their offense has been dealing with issues as well. Monroe has averaged only 14 points a contest and have used 4 quarterbacks so far this season. Even in that Coastal loss, we saw 3 quarterbacks get playing time. Chandler Rogers, Kobe Suits, and Jair Wright. Each of them took a snap for Monroe in that loss. Rhett Rodriguez, remember, to transfer into the program for this past offseason. He started the year and actually put together some okay numbers, but he got injured and he has been out ever since. We don't know when his timetable is going to be for recovery. I've not received word from Monroe about when he'll be back for the Warhawks. So they've played 4 quarterbacks so far this season. I asked Coach Elliott from Georgia State directly about how difficult it is to prepare for a team that has used 4 quarterbacks and we don't know who the starter is going to be.
I don't think it is. I mean, I think we know after watching their first 4 contests what they want to be offensively. So, no one likes to go through a situation where you got to play 4 quarterbacks. I think they went in there and Rodriguez was the guy, and then unfortunately he has the injury. And after that, it's kind of been a little struggle. But to tell you the truth, I think we're okay in knowing what they're going to try to do with those guys at quarterback.
Yeah, so Coach Elliott is using the approach, I guess, whoever's back there, we just deal with it. And as I said, usually you have a beat on who is going to play at quarterback, but I honestly do not know who will be in that spot. As I mentioned, that Coastal game was really tough to see. None of them played well, honestly. So I don't know what direction they're going to go, but we'll see what happens there as far as Monroe's offense. Defensively, Georgia State has an opportunity to get some points because Monroe's defense has allowed more than 31 points a contest this year. So these are 2 teams that are winless. No, actually, I can't say they're winless. Monroe beat Troy earlier on in the season as far as conference play goes. So this is an opportunity for both these teams and you got to look at the calendar right now. Bowl eligibility is a legitimate factor in this scenario. I don't think either team is going to contend at this stage for their division titles. I think the Coastal is going to win the East, and in the West, you have Louisiana as a shot. App State's right there as well in the East. But still, it's very interesting that you can start looking at the bowl schedule, getting those 6 wins to make yourself eligible. So there's a contest that can go either way. Now, last year, Georgia State was able to win the contest 52-34 at Center Park Stadium in Atlanta. That tied the most points that the Panthers have recorded against an FBS opponent. Destin Coates, he had 102 rushing yards and 2 TDs in that victory. And Cornelius McCoy caught 2 TD passes for Georgia State in the win. They're both back with the team. And both of them are looking to get off the better starts this year for Georgia State. Now, last time the contest was in Monroe, Louisiana Monroe won that contest 45-31 back in 2019. Georgia State rushed for a school record 414 yards in that contest, but still lost. So that was just an interesting stat from there. Now, Georgia State has won a contest at Malone Stadium in Monroe back in 2017. And that contest was won by Georgia State 47-37. So we'll be keeping track of that contest throughout the day. We're really at the end of the day. That contest kickoff is 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So that's the late contest. But if you're looking for football in the state of Georgia, you do have two teams that will be in action before that contest takes place. Georgia Tech makes the trip to Durham, North Carolina to face Duke. The Yellow Jackets are looking to rebound from their loss at home to Pittsburgh. So we'll be following that contest as well. And then Georgia, coming off of their shutout victory over nationally ranked Arkansas at home, make the trip to the Plains in Auburn. So that's another contest that for you look at the Georgia schedule, and yes, it's very interesting to see. Like everyone's looking to Alabama as far as who they can potentially face in the conference championship. But this is they go. None of these games are easy, and Auburn's actually nationally ranked as it's at the time we record this. But this is where a stretch that they go, where they face Tennessee and Auburn and Kentucky and Georgia. I mean, they're Georgia and Missouri, excuse me. And you look at their slate. This is where they can. None of these games are easy, especially with the quarterback situation. We don't know what's going on with JT Daniels, just dealing with a shoulder injury with the pec or the labrum, similar injury that Dak Prescott's dealing with or dealt with in the preseason for the Dallas Cowboys. So we don't know where if he's going to return to the lineup anytime soon. Stetson Bennett's been in the rotation, or he's been starting the past few games. But this is a time where Georgia can build up some wins and push their way towards an SEC championship game. Yeah, and I have to mention Georgia Tech as well. They're looking to bowl eligibility. I guess they're kind of in a similar state as Georgia State is in, but the ACC and the Coastal, you would think it's wide open, but unfortunately for Georgia Tech, they have a conference loss to Clemson. They've lost to Pitt. They do have one over North Carolina, but overall, if they want to have any shot of making a conference championship game, they have to get a win over Duke. So we'll be keeping track of all those contests throughout the day. Just keep track of us on our sites and our social media platforms, and we'll go from there. Until next time, good fight, good night, and be safe.